Hello, hello. This is Cristina.
And Carmen.
And this is another episode of Espooky Tales, a podcast for all things spooky, paranormal, true crime in Latin America. Today is all about Guatemala. Before we get to that, we do have a listener story. If you have a story that you want to send to us, you can email it to spookytales@gmail.com. You can DM it on our socials. You can call the Spooky Hotline. There's still one new one we got that I haven't listened to. We haven't played it, so we have to do that soon. And yeah, I think that's it. I mean, you could even handwrite me a letter and send it to our PO box, but
that'd be cool.
Crazy.
So yeah, kind of crazy.
I mean, I would enjoy it, but who writes letters these days?
Yeah. Oh, you're drinking my LaCroix.
I am. You left all of it. Carmen just visited me. We have a very short 15-minute vlog on Patreon that you can watch, and you can see us do very bad karaoke.
Actually, don't watch that.
Actually, don't join Patreon because we don't want you to see that vlog. Anyway, listener story.
Right. Let's get into this. Hi, Carmen and Cristina. Just want to say I love all your podcasts. I tell everyone I know to listen, and I love your Bukele bullshit segments. When I was younger, I think I was 4, we lived in projects in Los Angeles. I vividly remember a neighbor we had, a little boy and his parents. His name was Christian. I remember always going to his house early mornings and having breakfast with his parents and hanging out on his front porch. Now, keep in mind, I lived in the projects. For those not familiar with the projects, there are no houses. It's just a bunch of buildings that all look the same for blocks. But even now, when I think about it, I see the house in between the building of our unit and the next. It was a small blue house with a white door. They had a kitchen that you could see into the backyard. They had a little play structure in their backyard. I just always remembered Christian and his parents. Cut to a few years later, we've since moved from those projects. I'm about 5 months pregnant, and my sister brings up the time where I was missing for hours when we lived in the projects, and how my mom called all my aunts and uncles, the police, and they were out looking for me. And how I just walked into our unit like nothing happened, and my mom was just hysterical, and everyone was like, where the fuck were you? I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I was never missing. And I explained to her and my cousins the same thing I just said, how I would wake up, go to our neighbors, and hang out with our neighbor. And they were all like, what the hell are you talking about? We never had a neighbor. You never went to anyone's house. Are you crazy? And the conversation, sorry, I'm just like, what the fuck? And the conversation just moved on from there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like, oh, what is going on? Then a few months later, when I was about 7 to 8 months pregnant, my best friend and I were hanging out after a football game, waiting for her mom to pick us up. It was during the winter months, so it would get dark fast. We were one of the last few students at the school sitting on the bleachers, and there were some other students around too, but not too close to us. And then I see him, Christian. What the fuck?
What is happening?
He is standing behind my friend, waving to me to go to him. I freak out. I turn my friend over and he's gone. She sees nothing. And I'm just like, no, we can't be here. We need to leave. Then that weekend, I'm watching my niece. She's about 18 months. It's just her and I in the apartment. She's in the room and I'm in the living room watching TV, and I hear her talking. So I go and I'm like, hey, did you need me? Because I thought she was talking to me. She said, no, I wasn't talking to you. I'm talking to Christian.
Oh my God.
What the fuck?
Okay, so he's a ghost.
Yeah. I was like,
okay,
what?
This sounds
scary now.
Insidious now. I thought he was friendly, but now I'm questioning that.
It's a little much now. I get my niece and we bolt out the door. I went immediately to my grandma. My grandma was a curandera in El Salvador, and I just always felt a sense of calm and peace with her. Nothing like I have ever felt with anyone else. I told her everything that has been happening, and then she tells me that she remembers a time when I was missing and how I told her about my friend and his family. She explained that she did a limpia on me when I was little because she sensed that this thing did not have good intentions. And she was right.
Yeah.
She did another limpia on me and explained that because I was pregnant, I was vulnerable to these spirits and I just needed to calm my mind and soul. Last year, I had my second baby 15 years after having my first. She better not see fucking Christian again. Sorry, I'm just thinking ahead.
I know. Okay. No, you're right. You're right.
Christian, you better stop.
You better get the fuck out.
During my third trimester, I would have these night terrors where I would wake up sweating and just feeling scared, to the point that one time I had to go to the hospital because I was having a full-blown panic attack. After that hospital visit, my grandma came to visit me in my dream. I just remember feeling like she was embracing me like she used to do.
Oh.
I don't know if this is related to the first pregnancy, but I like to think my grandma was watching over me. And hopefully, if I decide to have another baby, it will be less eventful. At least there was no Christian.
No, seriously, because that would have been sería el colmo if Christian was still like jodiendo, still trying to, I don't know, bother her.
De veras que sí.
Wow. But good for her grandma.
I love that she visited her.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Wow. Thank you so much for your story. That was scary, but it turned out all right in the end.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about the castle of San Felipe de Lara. You can find Castle San Felipe de Lara in Izabal, Guatemala, along the banks of the Dulce River. It was constructed in the mid-17th century by the Spanish to protect themselves from the constant attacks of English pirates lurking in the Caribbean. The fort served as a military stronghold, prison, and customs checkpoint. She was multitasking.
She did it all.
She was policing hard. It's got thick stone walls, cannons, watchtowers, and a moat. I love a moat.
I know, right? Like, yeah. I love a good moat.
It permanently housed 12 soldiers and 12 cannons, which were later increased to 19 soldiers until this military outpost was abandoned in 1817.
I just don't know what 19 soldiers, even when it was increased, what's that going to do against a ship of pirates?
I mean, pirates probably aren't the most well-trained, right?
True, but they're mean.
That's true, they are.
I don't know. It could go either way, I guess.
Back when the castle was being built, the shores of Lake Izabal experienced a lot of commercial activity, especially the storage and shipment of goods to Spain. This soon attracted the attention of the pirates who sailed the Caribbean waters at the time, always ready to attack. It's a tourist attraction today, but it has a dark past, and a dark past comes with ghosts. Ooh. One of the...
I thought you were going to say with what? With ghosts.
Oh, that would have been good too.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah. One of the most well-known ghosts reported in the castle is that of the lady in what?
White.
That's
I'm
good.
not surprised.
It's always a lady in white.
If there's a place with a moat, it's going to be haunted by a lady, and she's going to be wearing white.
So tragic. I love it. It is said that on the darkest nights, especially when the moon is full, a ghostly figure dressed in white appears walking through the castle walls. The lady in white is described as a beautiful and sad woman. She wears a long white dress that seems to float above the ground because, you know, they never walk. They just float.
They're always floating.
Yeah.
And as they should be.
Right. There are different stories about who she was, but the common version says that she's the spirit of a young woman who, during the colonial era, was separated from her husband. He was a soldier who died defending the fort. Unable to bear the loss, the woman took her own life by throwing herself into Lake Izabal. From then on, her spirit would wander the castle, searching for her lost love, letting out wails that sound like the wind. Another eerie story told around the castle is that of the headless soldier. It's actually her husband. No.
Well, who knows?
According to legend, during a pirate attack, a brave Spanish soldier was decapitated by an enemy. However, his body, driven by fury and loyalty, continued to fight until it finally fell. Like a chicken.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to say a cockroach, but...
Blech. No,
I hate them so much. I'm so sorry.
Now I'm getting flashbacks to the stupid museum and those disgusting cockroaches.
Yeah, we went to OMSI and I can't even talk about it.
There's a little
place. You're right. You're right. If you've been to OMSI, you'll know.
Since that day, some claim to have seen the figure of a headless soldier roaming the castle's halls and towers, sword in hand, as if still protecting the fortress from invisible enemies. He is said to appear mainly on stormy nights when lightning lights up the sky and the wind roars.
No better night for a ghostly apparition.
Yeah. Castle workers and visitors have also reported hearing screams and moans that seem to come from within the fortress itself. These sounds are heard in the later hours of the night when the castle is shrouded in near total darkness. Some believe these noises are simply the result of wood and stone settling. That's never the answer. No, I don't think so.
It's never that. It's always a ghost.
I fully disagree.
Please.
Others are convinced they are the souls of those who died within the castle, either defending its walls or suffering in the dungeons. The bravest who have explored the castle at night claim to have felt a haunting presence, as if watched by unseen eyes, or to have seen swiftly moving shadows in the corners of their vision.
Would you go? Would you go see the castle?
I would go in the daytime, not at night. I would definitely not go at night.
Yeah, no, I can't be. I'd probably trip and fall off the ledge or something.
And then become a ghostly apparition yourself.
Yeah.
The lady in the bed outfit, nah.
The lady in the bed outfit. There's not the lady in white, but the lady in the bed outfit. Yeah, you're right.
I'm just kidding. But I mean,
moving on.
But yeah, we should put this on our bucket list, but only during the day.
Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind. Anyway, we'll take a little break here, and then when we come back with my depressing true crime case, also from Guatemala. And we're back. In 2025, cosmetic and plastic surgeries are at an all-time high. Some people are even saying fillers and Botox and surgeries are ruining movies. And all this work, it's not limited to just celebrities or big influencers anymore. It's getting cheaper, especially if you have a good job. You can fly, to other places and get stuff done, and it's cheaper. And most of the time, this is okay. Like, nothing happens.
Most of the time, people survive. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time, people survive. Nothing happens. But in this case, it took a tragic turn. This is the case of Floridalma Roque. Floridalma was born and raised in Honduras to an Honduran father and a Guatemalan mother. She came to the United States in 1980, and she became a U.S. citizen. She went to school. She became a registered nurse. And she worked mostly in hospice care, like going to people's homes, older people's homes, and taking care of them. And she was always described as kind, caring by her family, friends, and patients. And at 59 years old, after researching and contemplating for a long time, Floridalma decided to finally get some work done. She had been wanting a facial rejuvenation and liposuction on her back and arms for a while. And she ended up going with Dr. Kevin Malouf at his clinic called Perfectima Clinic. The clinic is located in Guatemala City's Zona 14, and she had seen that the clinic had excellent reviews, and she felt safe with her choice. And in fact, she had already used the clinic once for a very minor procedure already. I couldn't find what it was, but she had already been there once. And she did frequent Guatemala a lot because, one, it's like, I think her mom, what did I say? Her mom was from Guatemala and her dad from Honduras, right?
Yes.
So she had family in Guatemala. Her eldest son actually lived and studied in Guatemala City at a university there too. So she was there a lot. Yeah. And in June 2023, she flew from New York City to Guatemala for the surgery, and it was scheduled for the 13th of June. And she was going to stay with her son after the surgery because, again, he lived in Guatemala City. Another family member, Rosario Sandoval, was going to go with her on the day of her surgery. So the two arrived together on the morning of the 13th. And Rosario had been planning on staying in the waiting room until the surgery was over. But personnel at Clínica Perfectima asked her to leave. They said that they were going to call her when it was time to pick Floridalma up. But she never got the call. Rosario returned to the clinic the next day, the 24th of June, at 10 in the morning. And they brought out Dr. Kevin Malouf himself, and he talked to her. He said that Floridalma had left 3 hours ago at 7 in the morning on an Uber, and that she had signed a release to leave against medical consent, and that they walked her out themselves when the Uber arrived. And to Rosario, this didn't seem right at all. One, because Floridalma didn't go anywhere by herself. It didn't matter where it was. She did not go anywhere by herself. She always had a friend or family member with her, even for something as small as an Uber ride. Like, it's how she was. And it also made even less sense because Rosario didn't think Floridalma could even see well enough after the surgery. The facial rejuvenation includes a eyelid lift.
Oh.
Apparently, in the U.S. and I think Guatemala, it's illegal to release someone with eyelid surgery. They're considered legally blind.
It must be
after the surgery, and they can't go anywhere by themselves. They have to be picked up by someone,
and that makes sense,
right? And so it would have been illegal to release her after this. So nothing was adding up. So Rosario left the clinic and she kept trying to call Floridalma, and Floridalma never answered. After a few hours, she felt like something was very wrong and went to the local police department. And because Floridalma was a missing woman, the public ministry declared an Alerta Izabal Claudina. This is an act that was created so that police immediately began searching for a missing woman.
Wow.
In Guatemala.
Well, I'm glad this is in place.
Yeah. You can dial 1572 in Guatemala, or you can go to any public ministry office or national police office in wherever you're at and say a woman is missing, and they will enact
Wow.
Alerta Izabal Claudina. This was passed in 2016, and it came to be due to the murders of two women, well, one woman and one teenager, in the early 2000s. Maria Isabel Franco Veliz, who went missing in December 2001 at 15 years old. She failed to return home after work, and her mom, Rosa Franco Sandoval, went to the police, who told her she had to wait 24 to 72 hours to report her missing. And she waited the time, she returned, and even when she returned, they took their sweet-ass time to even begin to look into her disappearance. And the other person, Claudina Isabel Velázquez País, was 19 when she went missing on the 12th of August of 2005. She was on her way to school, and then she got a text from her parents after school that she was going to go to a party, but she'd be back later. And then it was around 2 a.m. and she was not back yet. And so her parents tried to go report her missing. And again, authorities didn't do anything. They were like, you have to wait the 24 to 72 hours. And in both cases, authorities failed to even begin searching for them, as well as they failed to properly secure crime scenes and forensic evidence.
Oh my God.
And both of them were sexually assaulted and murdered.
Wow.
And because this was so common that they failed to look for them right away, and maybe they could have found them in time, this act was passed to try and respond more quickly and prevent more murders like those of Maria Isabel Veliz and Claudina Velázquez. And hence the name Isabel Claudina. That's what it's called after them. Mm-hmm. So back to Floridalma. Because the act or the alert was put in place, investigators got to work right away. And the only information they had to go off of is that she had surgery at Dr. Kevin Malouf's clinic in Zona 14. And days passed. It turned into a month. Suddenly, on July 28, 2023, the doctor was arrested at his clinic. And when he was arrested, he denied knowing anything about what happened to her, but his story quickly fell apart. Investigators on that same day accessed so much paperwork related to her, as well as phone calls, security tapes, incriminating things, right? And so once they had access to the clinic security tapes, they could see, yes, she arrived with a family member on the 23rd of June. The next day, clinic personnel can be seen coming and going. And there's a video of a woman living in a wheelchair that Dr. Malouf claimed was Floridalma. But the person on the wheelchair was much taller and just physically bigger. Their face was bandaged up and only the back of them was visible. And not to mention that in the video that this is supposedly Floridalma, the person on the wheelchair raises her arms. And if she had gotten liposuction on her arms, that would have been right. So again, very, very suspicious things. On top of that, the surveillance video also showed that the doctor left the clinic shortly after the person in the wheelchair that is supposedly Floridalma. He left right after that. And then he was seen carrying a huge plastic container, like a huge garbage bin.
Wow.
I mean, big enough to fit a person. And after the supposed video of Floridalma surfaced, her kids tried going to the FBI for help because they thought, well, our mom is a U.S. citizen, maybe something can be done. But they didn't really help. All they said is that they could only monitor the situation. They couldn't do anything. They went to a lawyer whose name is Frank Rubino and apparently represented Manuel Noriega in the Supreme Court case against him. And if you don't know about that, you can listen to our first episode on Panama on Historias Unknown. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was his lawyer, and that's who they went to. And he told them that the U.S. government needed a formal invitation from the local Guatemalan law enforcement to even begin to conduct an investigation. Mm. And the local Guatemalan law enforcement did not invite them. So they couldn't do anything. Although they did find that the supposed consent to leave, like I'm leaving without against medical advice form that she supposedly signed, didn't exist.
So there was never a form.
There was no form she signed, yeah. And so with the surfacing of these videos and the doctor's ever-changing story, investigators grew more suspicious. Because first he said that she took an Uber at 7 a.m. Then he said he saw her call someone to pick her up. Again, her eyes didn't work. She couldn't see.
She couldn't use the phone.
No. And her kids maintain that even if she, her eyes were working, she didn't know how to order an Uber. So then he said she called the cab. He just kept changing the story. He even started saying, and he would like go on Facebook Live and say these things.
Oh my God, that's like, I don't know. You had to be like delusional to think that that is appropriate, because you're also talking about a woman who never made it home.
He's like, I don't know what happened to her. I watched the video of his. I was like, oh my God, this is, I don't know. He even started saying that Floridalma arrives at the clinic by herself and that she had no family in Guatemala, only a brother in Mexico. Things that were just
not even
straight
true.
Up lies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could see, like I said, the video that I watched of him, he's sitting there in his car driving and streaming.
Well, of course he's doing that. He has no regard for anything.
Right. And he's like, I don't know. She came here. She had no other family. She came from outside of the country and she just vanished after leaving my clinic, but it was a successful surgery. It's not my fault she disappeared. Like, brother, please. What do you mean? But so he it's just her family could see this, like, you know,
they're literally looking for her. What do you mean she has no family? They reported her missing.
Yeah. In Guatemala, because she has family in Guatemala. Like, just, you know, lie after lie after lie. And obviously he was hiding something. And, you know, they suspected whatever happened must have happened at the clinic. And because it happened at the clinic, there's no way other employees don't know what happened. Plus, they found more videos of clinic staff carrying out large garbage bins too. So everything was suspicious at this point. Then again, and also another thing is that they weren't sharing any of this information with the family, nothing. They were just like suddenly, oh, the news had information that they were being arrested at the clinic, right? Like when they went and arrested, when they went and arrested the doctor, there was no information on why at first.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm not surprised because they would want to keep it tight, right?
Right. Though sometimes they inform the family, like we do have,
it's not like a surprise for them. Yeah. I guess that makes sense too. Like they could share it without sharing details. Like, hey, we have a person of interest that we are bringing in, or we are like, ready to arrest someone.
But that doesn't happen a lot. Right. We, you know, when we were at the True Crime Paranormal podcast festival, there was a family advocating for police to tell family members what's happening. True. Which honestly makes sense to me, but can also be a little risky, I guess. If someone's a person of interest but they're cleared and the family's like, nah, this motherfucker's gonna get it, and then they go like do something on their own accord, you know?
That's true also.
So I guess I could see both sides of it.
Yeah. And that's also what's some like an issue within true crime content in itself too.
Yeah, well, they'll name someone. So the same thing happened on August 4th, 2023, when nurse Luis Castro, nurse assistant Susana Rojas, and the anesthesiologist Lidia Silva were all arrested.
Wow.
Like, suddenly. So the three, along with the doctor, were accused of the disappearance of Floridalma, as well as kidnapping and obstruction of criminal action. And once they were arrested, the nurse Luis Castro, he spilled everything, and the truth came to light. So he said that it was all the doctor's fault. And I mean, it's probably true, but like,
I would have said the same thing.
Yeah, right. Like, so he said something went wrong during the surgery and Floridalma did not make it, and that the doctor then conjured up a lie about her leaving, instructed one of the nurses to dress up like her. He made up this whole plan, and then he ordered them to put her in a garbage bin in the fetal position so she'd fit, and then they were gonna sink that bin, and that was his plan.
That's crazy. First of all, I mean, like, was this even necessary to do all this? I mean, a unfortunate risk of elective surgery in all surgeries is death. anytime you go under, you might not come out alive, right? Isn't that like a risk they let you know? And so sometimes, most of the time, doctors have like liability insurance. I'm assuming he was already doing shady shit if he went.
They should, but if he came up with his plan
like
so
if
fast,
this was his plan A, like I'm like, have you done this before? Like, were you already at risk of losing your license? Do you even have a license? Because other doctors, you know, they do stuff like this, and they keep
some of them are not real
practicing.
doctors. Yeah,
because sometimes these things happen, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, again, if that was his plan
That's
A,
crazy.
He conjured it up so fast. He was ready for the plan.
Like
you know,
he's done this before. I don't know.
So, right. There is a recorded conversation. Or sorry, this conversation was recorded. You can hear it in the phone call. And again, a lot of it wasn't released to the public. Only some of it was leaked. And you can hear one of the phone calls when he's like, you all need to figure out like how we're gonna get away with this. Like, we're gonna do this and that and that. Like,
and
he's
dude, like,
literally
why not
saying
quit?
that.
Like, they go report him. Like, I don't understand.
No, but seriously,
surely there's other medical places you can get a job at.
Right,
if you're a nurse or something.
Not anymore.
Well, yeah.
So again, part of it was recorded and released. The doctor then took her body home, and then once he was there, he called the nurse.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I
mean, this whole thing, but like each thing.
Well, wait till you hear the rest.
Oh my god! I was about to say everything you say gets more and more wild. That I'm like, I'm appalled already. Oh my god!
That's gonna keep happening. Yeah, he took her remains home, and then once he was home, he called Luis Castro from his house, and he said that he's just saying these things on the phone. He told the nurse that he moved her to a suitcase, and then that they took care of it. Like, why would you say that? Why did he call him? Like, if you're already doing this. And he also said, like, we took care of it. Like, somebody was already at his house. Yeah. And Luis Castro doesn't know who they are. Like, he doesn't know who was helping him, but he was sure to say when he was telling the police all this that the doctor had a plan ready and all the necessary equipment to get rid of a body.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Because he knew who to call at his house to help him get rid of the body.
So at first I thought it was one of the other Perfectima staff, but it wasn't then. Nope. It was like someone he had on hand to be like, oh my God, wow.
Yeah. And after Luis Castro confessed, then the other two employees followed suit and more details came to light. Lidia Silvia affirmed that they could have saved Floridalma's life. But Dr. Maluf did the opposite of like life-saving measures.
Why? I don't understand. Was he going to harvest her organs or some shit?
No, money. So
what?
Yeah. So if he would have listened to them and given the order to transfer her to a hospital when things started to turn during her surgery, she would have made it. But he refused because it was expensive. The nurse assistant, Susana Rojas, solidified the accounts of the two other employees. Like, they all said the same thing. So in the beginning of the surgery, everything was still going okay. But that changed as they progressed through the surgery. Lidia Silvia, the anesthesiologist, began to notice that the patient's vitals were dropping. And then around noon, they were unable to wake her. And so they decided to check her glucose, and it was 350, where the normal range should be 70 and 110, in between 70 and 110. So then Susana, the nurse assistant, notified Dr. Maluf, who then said they should wait a little longer to see if she improves on her own, which never happens when someone
crazy.
Needs,
they're literally like critical, and they're like, well, let's see if she gets better.
Yeah. So Lidia then informed the doctor that they needed to administer insulin ASAP. And he said, no, we're going to wait. She said it again. And he was like, no, it's too expensive. She'll get better on her own. And then when she said again, she's not getting better, we need to transfer her to a hospital with an intensive care unit, he said it was too expensive. They were not going to do that. And they began calling, like the staff began calling other doctors for their opinions, like on what they should do. And they recommended what they already knew. Yeah. They needed to transfer her to an ICU. So the staff, these three, went again back to the doctor and said, we need to transfer her now. And he repeated again that it was too expensive to transfer her. Then she just didn't wake up. They waited too long to intervene.
Oh my God.
when she died, he threatened all of them and their families and ordered them to put her in a garbage bin. But I mean, there's 3 of them and 1 of him.
They could have just beat his ass and then called the police. This is crazy.
And this is the same bin that is seen in the surveillance tapes. And she confirmed, along with Luis, they both said that the doctor left around 11:57 at night with the bin. And when he was asked where he was going, he told them it was none of their business. So it turns out he transported her remains to his home in Santa Catarina Pinula. He then coordinated her dismemberment. So the people that he called helped him dismember her.
Oh my God. Why does he have people on call for this?
Why does he have a team of dismemberers? Like, what the fuck?
Like on call. Like, hey, I need you guys right now. Meet me at my house. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And there's like he made a diagram, like an anatomical diagram of where they should cut, and there's like, this is available evidence. Like, it's like a image of a person, and then there's a yellow line at the arm and shoulder. There's a yellow line at the legs, like instructing cut here. Like, he made this. So yeah, he coordinated her dismemberment and disappearance, and they left her remains over at this wooded area in San Vicente Pacaya, Escuintla, and that's where they did it. And when the doctor was interrogated, he gave detailed information on where her remains could be found. He told investigators, follow this S-shaped road, then you'll cross this coffee and avocado plantation, then you pass this road that you need a 4x4 vehicle to get to, which will lead you to an area called La Joya, where these 2 mountains meet. Then you have to walk on foot on this other path to get to an old well. Next to the well, there was a pit. That's where they buried her.
Wow.
And yeah, they following his instructions. They found her on June 5th, 2024.
How much time has passed?
A year.
Oh, okay.
Almost a year. She went missing her day of her surgery was June 23rd, 2023. So yeah, almost a year. And it took them 12 hours to find like all of the pieces in this pit and like keep ticking.
Horrible.
Extremely. Her remains were in an advanced stage of decomposition, so she was sent to the National Forensic Sciences Institution, where she was positively identified as Floridalma Roque. And the family was informed on June 19th, 2024. And then after 13 long months after her death and disappearance, her family was finally able to bury her in a cemetery in Zone 17 in Mixco, Guatemala. And yeah, they were able to put her to rest, but they were still waiting for justice.
Yeah.
And apparently true justice would not come because a judge lessened Dr. Malouf's charge after he confessed where the remains were. He was like, oh, he's cooperating.
Ugh, I mean, that's unfortunate, and it's a common move in the legal system.
That's true.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
But still, like, I can understand how it's
I can
upsetting.
sympathize with the family.
Yeah.
So he was charged with homicidio culposo, which is manslaughter, instead of like homicide or in the whatever degree, right?
That's very upsetting because I guess what led to her death wasn't intentional. Like, it was just part of the surgery going wrong. But then everything he did after was intentional. Like, that's crazy.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
That's so upsetting.
Yeah. Like, the family now today still believes, like, you know what? Maybe this was premeditated. I don't know.
Well, how do you have people on deck to dismember a body? That's fucking crazy.
How often is he killing people?
And how is that your plan A? Because also, like, these things happen in surgeries. So you could have just been like, done the right thing, transfer her to the hospital where she could have received the emergency care, hoped for the best. And if it didn't happen, or if, you know, she didn't live through that, sometimes that happens. And most doctors, you know, are their go-to is not with that in a legal way. Not like doing everything this fucking dude did. The fuck?
Yes. So yeah, he had been charged with homicide. It was brought down to manslaughter.
That's so upsetting.
Was sent. Yeah,
I know. Just like that's so common, but now I'm like, like, what the fuck?
No, he was sentenced to 4 years, which was then reduced to 2 years. But then if he pays 5 quetzales every day, he can do house arrest. He doesn't have to go to jail.
Oh my God.
On top of that, in 6 years, he will be allowed to practice again.
No.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And do like 5 quetzales a day is not even that much, right?
I feel like it's cents. Like, I don't know the conversion rate. And yes, I could look it up, but it's not a lot.
Let me see.
It's not a lot.
Oh my God.
What is it?
It's 65 cents. That's crazy.
I can't. Oh my God. It was obvious that he was subject to a different criminal justice system. He was allowed to attend all trials via video, while the other 3 had to attend in person.
Wow.
And on top of that, the whole case, and I had to ask my mom what this meant because I didn't know. But so the whole case was under bajo reserva, the trial. Like, so I think that just means that it was like kept really tight. Nothing was made public, including the trial. So and that was for him, to benefit him, apparently.
The whole trial, or just like him when he was going to court, not the other 3?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
I couldn't find, all I could find is these TikTok videos that talked about how it was under bajo reserva.
So then in total, his charge was reduced to 2 years, and it was house arrest.
But you could go home.
Okay.
Yeah. For dismembering.
I want to keep that fresh in my mind when you tell me what everyone else was sentenced to.
Okay, yeah. So, Lidia Silva, the anesthesiologist, was sentenced to 2 years and 3 months for manslaughter, which she did serve in prison. She has to serve in prison. Susana Rojas was given 3 years for aiding and abetting.
How was she given more time?
3 years for aiding and abetting. Luis Castro was also sentenced for 2 years for aiding and abetting, but this one was changed to 2 months for cooperating.
Wow. Well, he was the first one to snitch, so.
Yeah, so I could see that, but that's like a lot. That's a big...
2 years to 2 months, yeah.
Yeah, like I could see, I don't know, a year being fair, but
yeah,
2 months? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Another person was also arrested in the process of all this, Cindia Barrios Morales. She was charged for aiding and abetting, and then went through trial and was sentenced for that because she lied during questioning about having been in the clinic that day.
Damn.
And I don't know what her sentence was. I couldn't find it, but like, imagine it being more for lying about being there than for him dismembering her and disappearing her.
Because shouldn't that be like a different criminal like charge, like a crime, like to mess with like a body? Like, that's not the legal term,
right?
But
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's a crime.
Yeah.
And then hide the body, like, that's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In the end, all sentences were reduced. I couldn't find what the other 2 were reduced to, but they were all reduced. The family's lawyer did request an appeal, claiming that the judge, Pedro Lainez, was biased and not impartial and was probably bribed to help the doctor.
I mean, that explains all the leeway the doctor was given. Yeah.
Yeah. And a new trial has still not taken place. The family is still seeking proper justice. Like, the sentence just happened like 2 months ago or some shit.
Wow.
Or the end of 2024. My memory fails me. So... But yeah, it just happened. So they're still seeking justice. And her family has stated that during this difficult investigation, where they were kept in the dark for a long time and they themselves had to travel back and forth to Guatemala to try and find information, they found out that there had been others like their mom.
Of course. That's why he had those people on deck to just call. Oh my God.
Right. Like, you don't just have these numbers ready.
Yeah.
And Ryder was his plan like,
ready to enact. And yeah.
Exactly. They said that they had met several people who came in for surgeries, or whose family members came in for surgeries and were never seen again at that same clinic. Wow. But the only difference between those people and their mom is that their mom was a U.S. citizen while they were all local people from Guatemala. But apparently he has, according to the family, done this more than once.
I believe it.
I do, because again,
that plan was ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah. All 3 of them said that he was ready. He knew what to do. So yeah, that was the case of Floridalma Roque.
What a sad, infuriating story.
Yeah. Also, I mean, like, I know it's cheaper to go do surgery somewhere else, but man, some of these places are scary.
Well, these things happen here too.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
But it is more dangerous usually to go out of the country to do this kind of stuff.
Have you seen stories of people flying to Brazil and then they're like so botched?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, a lot
And
of
they
people go to
just-
Tijuana for their BBLs.
Yeah. And then they get injected with other things.
Yeah.
Scary. It's
It's scary, and it's sad that women, for whatever reason, you know, feel like they have to put their lives in danger, or maybe are not recognizing the full risk that it is to do these kind of elective surgeries. And of course, we all fall victim to diet culture, to Western beauty standards. So, but it's sad, you know, like this woman lived a long time, had children, you know, had a full life and wanted to feel better and look better for herself. And then this happens to her. And it would have been one thing if she had died, you know, and then nothing happened like to her body and nothing.
But then what they did,
it just made it like 100 times worse. It's just horrifying.
Yeah. And you know, it's so, because I was like, what should I do that would be like, you know, important to kind of shed more light on. And I hadn't seen this covered anywhere else except TikTok videos in Spanish. But then at the same time, earlier today or last night, I was scrolling TikTok and I came across a video of I don't know, I think she's Scottish actress who was on Game of Thrones. And in her interview, she was saying like and again, to each their own, there's so much that leads someone to want to do something to themselves, right? And that's not for me to judge. But this actress was saying that she would never do any facial work because she relies on her face.
Oh, she
to
was
be able
also
to
in
move.
Sex Education. Did you ever
and
watch
she was
that?
Yeah. No, I've been meaning
it's so
to.
good. I didn't watch the last season.
Okay.
But it's so good.
But yeah, and that's where the comments then led to like how surgeries and this work is ruining movies, because she was like, I need my face to like make facial expressions to act, and there's certain people that just can't do that anymore with their faces. There's like no way around that. Like it doesn't, like, it was a little distracting in Lucifer, but I still watched it, whatever, you know. But she was saying that, and then the comments mentioning that, like what I just said about the movies being ruined, but also the comments talked about what's her name? They talk about her on Do We Know Them all the time. She's like the one that's friends with Tana Mojo or whatever.
Oh, Brooke Schofield or Schofield. I do realize I was saying it wrong.
Yes, okay. You know how there's like a little search that just shows up if so many comments mention something? So the first thing that was in the search bar was Brooke Schofield eyelid surgery, because she got like a eye, I don't know, lid lift or something. Oh. And she's like documenting the process. And it's so weird that all this was popping up, because I was like, this is the case that I picked. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
everything
weird.
was connected.
It's all connected.
Yeah. No, I've seen that topic, I guess, trending, I guess would be the word.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah. It's like a hard thing, I think, to talk about, because everyone has a right to do whatever they want with their body, blah, blah, blah. And we should judge people, blah, blah, blah. Right. But I think it gets into like choice feminism and everything that's wrong with that. And it's a faulty message in the end, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. In it. Okay, it's time to stop.
You're right.
We can't. But yeah, that was the case. We'll take a little break here. And oh my God, I feel like I'm accidentally talking to my influencer voice. Am I?
A little bit, but it doesn't sound that bad.
Okay, thanks. We'll take a break here and then we'll come back with spooky recommendations.
Yeah.
Do you have spooky recommendations?
Okay, they're not really spooky. It's just that they were like on theme with this case. Floridalma was a hospice nurse, and that reminded me of this book I read by a hospice nurse who apparently was also a TikTok influencer, but I didn't know that about her when I read it. The book was in my library and was available, and so I borrowed it.
Okay.
But it was good. I'm pretty sure it was called The In Between, but I just want to make sure.
Is it by Hadley Vlahos?
It is that.
Yeah, the in-between unforgettable encounters during life's final moments.
Yeah. And so she talks a lot in the book about her experience as a hospice nurse and like people's last moments. And it was just, it was a good read. And it has a little bit like spiritual stuff.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
I liked it. And then the other book, which is very on theme because it's similar, like what happened to the author's mom is similar to this, to what happened to Floridalma. So it's called The Manicurist's Daughter by Susan Liu, but the description says an emotionally raw memoir about the crumbling of the American dream and a daughter of refugees who searches for answers after her mother dies during plastic surgery. Susan Liu has long been searching for answers about her family's past and about her own future. Refugees from the Vietnam War, Susan's family escaped to California in the 1980s after 5 failed attempts. Upon arrival, Susan's mother was their savvy, charismatic North Star, setting up 2 successful nail salons and orchestrating every success until Susan was 11. That year, her mother died from a botched tummy tuck. After the funeral, no one was ever allowed to talk about her or what had happened. For the next 20 years, Susan navigated a series of cascaded questions alone. Why did the most perfect person in her life want to change her body? Why would no one tell her about her mother's life in Vietnam? And how did the surgeon who preyed on Vietnamese immigrants go on operating after her mother's death? Sifting through depositions, tracking down the surgeon's family, and enlisting the help of spirit channelers, Susan uncovers the painful truth of her mother, herself, and the impossible ideal of beauty. And then it just ends by saying, The Manicurist's Daughter is much more than a memoir about grief, trauma, and body image. It's a story of fierce determination, strength, and shared culture, and finding your place in the world.
It's a memoir.
Yeah.
Wow, this sounds really good. I'm gonna add it to my very, very long TBR.
Don't even get me started on my TBR, but it's just it's like not a serious TBR. You know how some people are like
oh yeah, no, it's not a serious one.
It's just like books I would like to read at some point, you know, and if I don't get to it,
at some point in my life. Yeah, exactly.
But no, it was good. And it's very on theme with what happened.
Oh, 100%. Wow. Yeah. What's it called again?
The Manicurist's Daughter.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely look for that. I do not have spooky recommendations. I don't know what I've been doing since first we got back from Mexico. Yeah, we got back from Mexico and then I was sick and I did nothing, absolutely nothing.
And then she got her mom sick.
Yeah, then you guys visited me. And then we, did things. You can catch a little bit of that on Patreon or vlog. Again, it's only 15 minutes. And then we just chismear and listen to music and clean and eat. Like that's basically all we do unless we go out, which we did. We went to Amzi, then we went to celebrate my husband's birthday at karaoke, and we tried it. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, either.
For me personally,
no.
Unless you can sing, which we cannot. We absolutely can't. I do think that we would have done MB Writers pretty good.
I think so too.
Though.
Yeah.
But again, they didn't have it. So yeah, I've been doing nothing. And even before that, I haven't been looking at spooky things. I don't know what the hell I've been doing. I've been watching The Pit. It's really good.
Oh.
Yeah, so that has been, and then also on top of that, at some point in the summer we might be moving, and I've if I'm not working on research or scripts or editing or watching The Pit, all I've been doing is looking up houses and apartments and a bunch of different neighborhoods, and so that's what I've been doing. And I haven't even finished. I have to read The Unworthy. I still haven't finished it. It's a very short book.
Yeah, I listened to the audiobook and I have to read. I want to read the book too, since I got the book.
Yeah. So I did finally start reading it again because I literally hadn't touched it, and I was like, what am I doing? And that's what I've been doing, obsessing over looking at houses that I'm not even gonna I don't need to be looking at them right now. I need to be looking at them in 4 months.
Yeah. You need to stop then.
I can't. It's just one of those things. I have to wait till I just stop. Yeah, it's a hyperfixation. It is right now. Yeah,
interesting.
It's like Degrassi. When I was obsessed with Degrassi, I couldn't do anything else.
Right.
Unless I had to. I still work, but all my free time was consumed by Degrassi, and that's me right now with looking up rentals, restaurants, and schools, and I'm
that's a lot. That's a lot to look up.
Yeah. I need to stop, but I can't. So. Yeah, I've also been playing. Before that obsession happened, though, I was obsessed with this game called The Cuisinier. You have this little restaurant.
Interesting.
And you can open the restaurant and people come to the restaurant and they order something and you make it for them they grab it and they sit in a little chair, and the restaurant gets crowded, and if you don't have enough tables, they get mad and they leave. Yeah. And then you in order to have ingredients to upgrade the restaurant, not ingredients to cook things, and then material to upgrade the restaurant, you have to go to this other area and like kill chickens and little peppers that have feet.
Wow.
And so yeah, that's what I was doing before that, which is why I wasn't watching anything spooky, because all I was doing was playing Cuisinier, and then my obsession with looking things up happened. And so yeah, I need to stop and I need to get back to spooky things, but it's not happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we have reached the end of the episode, unless you have anything to add.
No, I think we're at the end. Toodles, everyone.
Yes, stay spooky and watch out for the lady in white. Watch out for the lady in a bad outfit.
Cristina.
Bye.
Bye.